Good morning, everybody. Welcome to really one of the most exciting days I've had since being mayor, and with ICE being in our community every week, that's like a very important day for me, to be very happy and joyful. I've said this before, for those of you that know me, my favorite spot is this and the cafeteria in our school. Because for me as a child, these were the places, while both my parents worked 12 hours a day, these were the places where I grew up, surrounded by people from municipalities, which encouraged me to then run for office when I wanted to make some changes. And I think I speak for many of you because I know almost everyone in the room, and I think many of you grew up in communities, hardworking families where you grew up, and these were your safe spaces. This space is being totally renovated. It is an adjacent to the DRI effort. It's happening because we're able to build a multimodal parking to allow for more parking for seniors, for families, for parents with children to come to our community center. And that is the project that we're very excited to talk about today. That was my heartfelt thank you for taking your time out of your busy lives today, for being here from all parts of our community and from the state. I really just want to welcome everybody to my most favored village of Ossining, with 30,000 people living on about 3.5 square miles, additional 7,500 people in the town. Liz Feldman, our supervisor for the town, sends her regards. She's unable to join us today, but she's here in spirit. For many years, Village has looked to redevelop its two largest surface parking lots located on Main Street. The cost of creating alternative downtown parking was always the primary impediment. Thanks to $2.2 million in DRI funding and an additional $1 million from Empire State Development, Ossining is able to construct a multimodal structure. My husband this morning, who clearly doesn't read my weekly mayor's newsletter, didn't know what a multimodal was. So as you know, we call it multimodal because we're thinking well beyond a parking garage. It is going to have EV stations. There was a presentation last night to the community at our legislative session. They're starting with a handful of EV stations. They'll go up to about 33, which is so important for people who live in the 51% of our housing, which is now apartments. That's a big changeover in our demographics in our community. Those folks can't own an electric vehicle. There's no place for them in their apartment buildings for the most part. The older units, they'll now be able to have a place to be able to own electric and to be able to participate in, I think, what the future looks like. There are going to be the bike rental space, which is done with one of our nonprofits, and that will also be available. It allows for the development of all of our projects as we move forward, whether it's the Olive Opera House with Sing Sing Museum, which is an adjacent project, whether it's the businesses in the downtown, everyone will benefit. And as we put more housing in the middle of our downtown and run more events in our downtown, I think this is really the push forward. Today we're honored to have the Secretary of State, Walter Mosley. Thank you for making the trip down. It is important to just pause and note that before Mayor Hochul, who has a background in municipal government herself, moved the DRIs to smaller communities. It was really the major cities, and we can understand why with their populations were getting DRI. She moved it to be more about towns and villages without the state's ability to really think about smaller communities like ours. This would have never happened. So I'm very happy that the state is so well represented here today. Want to, of course, I have said this 1,000 times, County Executive Ken Jenkins is with us. The county is a great partner. We honestly have great partners. Pete Harcum is also on the stage with us. We appreciate that. Victoria Caffarelli is here representing Dana Levenberg. I'm sure Dana would be here. This is her favorite spot. It should be her favorite spot, but she's busy with budgets. County Legislator Emiliana Ulai, one of our newer friends, but one of the most active. So much appreciate your help at the county at that level. And I do want to introduce, for those of you that may not know, one of the great organizations for economic development is is run by Dr. Marcia Gordon, president of the Business Council of Westchester. She was my co-chair on this project. She's so involved in so many events throughout this county to Hudson Valley. Without her, I'm not sure this would have happened as well as it has. It's with great pleasure and really just total gratitude for everyone who's made this possible. I usually start speeches with it takes a village to raise a family. The truth is it takes the entire state of New York at all levels of government to really put Ossining on the map, to be really the next great community to rise to the occasion. So thank you. Sir.
Can you hear me? Yeah. All right. Mic is not made for vertically challenged individuals like myself, so I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. It's a great day to be here in the village. Quiet as kept. My best friend, my childhood friend, who I was born and raised in Brooklyn, he actually moved up here 20 years ago. And every time I come here, every time I set up a date and time to catch up, I always tell him, hey, look, you can stay home. I'm either coming up from the city or I'm coming down home from Albany, because I live in Albany. Because I always love coming into this village. It's a quaint village, but it is an embracing village. And every time I come here, I always feel welcomed, regardless of what's happening around us or in our midst. So this village holds a very dear and special place for me, having my dear friend William Hilton as one of your own. But again, on behalf of Governor Kathy Hochul, we're just so happy to be here. I know what you're going through in real time is strenuous, it's daunting, but sometimes it's always good to have some good news to share and to counter that, to kind of relieve you from those anxieties, just for a moment, because we understand that as New Yorkers, when we do things together, there's nothing that we can't do, and there's no one that can stop us. Likewise, I want to thank Mayor Levin for hosting us today. She's been a tremendous partner to the governor, to our administration. We couldn't do half of what we want to do without her and her administration's help and assistance. As you know, the governor has unveiled her most recent State of the State address just a few short weeks ago. And in her address, again, she plans on making New York a better place for all New Yorkers, regardless of your affiliation, your persuasion, regardless if you're from the North Country or you're from New York City or any point in between. She understands that New Yorkers of all walks of life need to have the proper attention necessary from their stewards in Albany. But likewise, we also want to say congratulations to the village. Oftentimes when we talk about DRI and sometimes New York Forward, but particularly DRI, people tend to think about the big cities like New York or Buffalo. But as the mayor said, DRI was right-sized and for villages and townships like Ossining, because we understand that we're only as strong as our, I don't like to say weakest link, but we're only as strong as the link that needs the most attention. And we understand that the village, like any village or any similar township, that regardless of your scalability, regardless of your bandwidth, we need you just as much as you need us, because we understand that we lean on you to provide us with the information as well as the planning, as well as the foresight to understand what will work and what won't work, what needs to be improved upon and what doesn't need to be improved upon, because you guys have the answers to where you live. It would be maddening for us to think that we in the city of, in the capital of Albany would have all the answers to your questions. And that's why we rely upon you and rely upon your stewards here in the village. But likewise, we also understand that communities like Ossining will be dealing with issues like universal child care, safer streets and additional housing, as well as the governor's Let Them Build initiative, which will mean cutting out the red tape, cutting out the bureaucracy, making sure that we move faster as a government when it comes to these significant infrastructure projects. Now, we can talk about government partners, and we can name government partners, But without a doubt, the government partners you have here have made a significant contribution to how we're moving forward as a state when it comes to our DRI awards and the grants and the millions of dollars that we invest back into villages like Ossining. But we also understand that in May 11, who I acknowledge, and County Executive Ken Jenkins and our REDC co-chair Dr. Gordon, obviously the Assembly member's not here, but I know his staff members here, of Assembly Member Lavenberg, as well as State Senator Pete Hartman. We could not, in your Westchester County Legislature, Oli, I just want to make sure I say that right. Ola, I'm sorry. That without them, we could not even think about doing a fraction of what we're going to be doing here going forward in the village. But I have to say, I love being the Secretary of State. One of the greatest things I love doing is traveling around this great state. From the North Country to the Southern Tier to Monroe County to the Capital Region and Downstate Region and all points in between. I love to travel the state. Not only do I get to meet New Yorkers from all walks of life, but we're also here to share good news. And I also like coming to these places because oftentimes I come with a big check with a whole lot of zeros.
Did you bring one today?
Well, we already brought it. And that's why today it's been cashed. But today is no different in terms of my enthusiasm being back here in the village. Today we announced the groundbreaking of the village's nearly $21 million mixed-use multimodal transportation center, as alluded to by the mayor, a key project of the village's downtown revitalization initiative, often called our DRI, which is operated under our Office of Planning, Development, and Community Infrastructure. So we're very excited within the department because when you get to this point, when you get to seeing the actual groundbreaking, you know change is happening. Ideas that were conceptualized in meeting rooms and board tables are now on paper, and now we're starting to see them being put in action. And the village was a round 5 recipient of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, and this community is utilizing the DRI to build on its strengths while harnessing its history and its unique charm. And while I don't often celebrate the groundbreaking of a parking lot, what's happening here today is setting up to thoroughly curate the future of your village. We all know how important available parking can be to a downtown. And I'm sure we've all been in situations where we're driving around downtown looking for a parking space. And it can be incredibly frustrating, particularly for those who are looking to support our local businesses. So what's happening here in this place? We're making room for progress. Mixed multimodal transportation hub will provide approximately 242 vehicle parking spaces, as well as promote decreased reliance on vehicle use with bicycle infrastructure to accommodate parking and charging ports, as well as space designated for e-bike repair. This hub will also support infill redevelopment, expand parking space in the southwest corner of the downtown Ossining, all while freeing up valuable land that is currently used for surface parking only. The DRI provided $2.24 million for this project. As you know, Dr. Gordon, in addition, this project will enhance the walkability and bikeability pathways. It will support long-term economic growth, all while positioning the village as a model for community-driven redevelopment across New York State. And likewise, along with this hub, the following projects will also be funded through our DRI grant. Enhancing the streetscapes in the station plaza nearby to improve connectivity. Enhancing and expanding the Market Square Public Plaza. Preserving and revitalizing the historic Olive Opera House building. Upgrading the Lewis Engel Waterfront Park performance space. And last but certainly not least, transforming the space we're in right now, the Joseph G. Caputo Community Center. So, as you can see, this is just not about a parking space. This is about transforming your downtown, revitalizing it to places and areas that we probably could think of, but now it's coming to fruition. So again, I want to thank the governor for her leadership. I want to thank your elected officials and appointed officials for their leadership. Working together, we're going to do everything possible to make sure that Ossining remains a point of destination and not just a place you just pass through. Because these programs will now provide a bigger and better place for not only those who call Ossining home, who are raising their families, but those who want to continue to call Ossining home. Little kids who grew up here, who saw this place as a place to hang out while their parents worked 10, 12-hour shifts. But in the back of their mind, there was something growing in terms of how they can improve this village. And we have a prime example of your mayor as being one of those individuals who grew up here. So before I go, I just want to also recognize our team that's situated here in the Hudson Valley. Our revitalization specialists, Amanda Wild and Susan Landfried. Please, there are resources for you to use. Exhaust them. Understand that they are our ears and eyes for us here in Albany. They're your resource. And I want you to understand that they're here to answer any and all of your questions as it relates to economic development through the Department of State. At the Department of State, our motto is opportunity starts here. It doesn't start in Albany, it doesn't start in Buffalo, it doesn't start in New York City. It starts right here. And that's why it's so critically important for me as your secretary to be here, to say that to your face, eyeball to eyeball, to understand that we cherish you and we know how important you are. You're personally important to me because you house one of my best friends. But with all jokes aside, we are as strong as places like the village of Ossining can become. And with that being said, I just want to hand off this baton and program to my dear friend, your county executive, Ken Jenkins. Thank you so much.
All right, so good morning, Ossining. Good morning. Oh, come on, let's try better. Good morning. All right, it is certainly an honor and a privilege to be here this morning as we celebrate and recognize another groundbreaking here. Yes, Mayor, this is a place we all like to come to, and whether it was for the original DRI presentation, which I think was the first time the villages were recognized in a village of Haverstraw, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. Okay, good. That's helpful. But right here in this room was when that check came out. So you need another one today. You were good, right? It is certainly that kind of opportunity when we talk through those things, and an exciting opportunity. And yes, there are people like me that actually get excited about parking lots, especially when they have EV parking inside of them as well. As people know that myself and Pete and some other folks have done so much work with electric vehicles that we continue to do that, investing in the 33 that you have here, that's going to be part of that multimodal from dollars that our county provided to all the municipalities in an EV charging grant program. It's always great being here with my partner and tag team partner, Emiliana Ulai, our county legislator that represents the 9th County Legislative District, and doing so well. First, Secretary Walter Mosley is a good friend, and we always appreciate the Secretary of State coming through, all of us that are notary publics and those kind of things. His name's at the bottom of it. Now I just did the electronic form, so I know it's working well. But Secretary Mosley, and certainly on behalf, and we always want to make sure that we thank Governor Kathy Hochul for her leadership in helping to navigate the team and making sure that we're moving forward through all of these opportunities. My brother from another mother, Senator Pete Harcum, that we always tag team up together. Dana Levenberg, Assemblymember Levenberg, while she's not here, I know the team is here making sure to represent. Ossining Village Mayor Rika Levin, trustees in house. I'm going to get myself in trouble if I'm going to try to name all of them, but the mayor will make sure to wrap that up and do that. And the many community members that helped shape this vision, so where we are today. Today's groundbreaking is about connectivity, sustainability, and opportunity. It's about creating a downtown that works for today and prepares for tomorrow. This $21 million investment strengthens Ossining's role as the vibrant Westchester Hudson River community by consolidating parking and creating true multimodal hubs where improving walkability, enhancing bikeability, and supporting transit access, creating space for smart infill development. And this project, more importantly, frees up valuable land that's currently used for surface parking, and it opens new doors for new housing, new businesses, and expanded public space. This hub promotes reduced vehicle reliance, having that bicycle infrastructure, e-bike charging, and even space for an e-bike repair shop, which is definitely an interesting opportunity. It reflects how communities across Westchester are thinking differently about transportation and about our climate responsibility. Osining's downtown is historic, both on the state and national registers, and continues to evolve. From the waterfront development, from the Sing Sing Kill Greenway to the Sing Sing Prison Museum, this community continues to build on those assets. This transportation hub strengthens the connection between Main Street and the waterfront and supports long-term economic growth. This project would not be possible without the Downtown Revitalization Initiative and our leadership of Governor Kathy Hochul and the Department of State. Let's give it up for them one more time. Our co-chair of the Regional Economic Development, Dr. Marsha Gordon. Give it up for Marsha Gordon one more time as well for the work she continues to do and the leadership that she does in the many hats, including her business council hat, to make sure that we continue to move forward. And her leadership has been tremendous throughout this process, right from the very beginning. Westchester County believes in investing in infrastructure that supports families, businesses, and future generations. Projects like this make our communities more resilient, more accessible, and more economically competitive. Today we break ground, but what we're really building is momentum. Congratulations to the village of Ossining. The future is being built right here. So with that, let me turn over to my brother from the State Senate, Senate District number 40, our friend, Senator Pete Harcum.
Thank you so much, County Executive Jenkins. We do say that we are brothers from another mother. I always say he got the nicer mother. Mine was a little stern. She was a little stern, but that's a story for another time. Want to thank you, Madam Mayor, for hosting us, for your vision, for your amazing team. Just thank you for everything. I want to thank all the folks from the village and the town of Ossining who've been working through this process, and our first responders who are here, because you're right, it takes a village. And under your leadership, this village is humming. So congratulations. And Mr. Secretary, always great to see you. Thank you for coming and doing what you do in your team, and also on behalf of the governor, representing Kathy Hochul. And I want to thank the governor for her support of Ossining, and not just for this initiative, but for affordable housing, for water infrastructure, for wastewater infrastructure. This is a governor who understands and is a great partner with us in the legislature as we try to support what you do. So thank you very much. And obviously to Ken Jenkins, our amazing county executive. As the mayor mentioned, it takes all levels of government working together, village, town, county, and state. It would be helpful if we had federal partners, but that's another story. You know, folks often ask, I come out of county government, I was a legislator like Legislator Ulai. What does county government do? Why do we have county government? County government is the administrative arm of state government. So all of the services and things that we talk about in our budget, it's largely up to the county to implement. And under this county executive's administration and this board of legislators, they're doing an amazing, amazing job. So, and I'll talk about Dr. Gordon in a moment, but my job today is just to congratulate everybody. This is a really exciting project, and the one thing I think is really cool about the Downtown Revitalization initiative is that there is such an intense public engagement process. And so this is not about an elected official's vision. This is about your vision. You all came together and you all said, this is what we want to do. This is how we're going to empower our downtown. And that's what's an incredible thing about this program, and it continues to be. I've seen this in 2 of my municipalities now, and not only does it help with economic revitalization, but it brings a community together. The community feels like we've got a shared stake and a shared vision for the future of the community. And that's an amazing, amazing thing. And then lastly, you know, it doesn't happen in a vacuum with just government. We need the business community. We need these public-private partnerships. We need businesses right here in town, right here in the village, to create jobs. And we need to work with business leaders who have a vision on how to help us get there. And that's why our public-private partnerships are so important. And so with that, I want to bring up, as Ken mentioned, an incredible leader, and her team works on so many fronts. I'm working with the Westchester Business Council on a host of clean energy bills, you know, because they get it, that the future of Westchester's business and economy is tied to clean energy. Not just because it's good for the climate, but also because it's fastest to scale and it's going to save all of you money. An amazing team, an amazing leader. Please welcome Dr. Marcia Gordon.
Thank you so much. What an esteemed panel that I'm just super excited to work with all of you, and thank you all for your work. And again, this whole process really starts with ESD. I want to recognize Eric Warren, who represents Empire State Development in this area so well. Thank you, Eric. And is just a great partner. But it really starts with a group of people, volunteers, who sit at the REDC and review about 70 applications every year from communities who really want that $10 million that your community won, and you were the first village. So congratulations. And the process is an inclusive process. I know that we met here at night, and we brought the community together, and we had people saying what their priorities were, and we talked about it, and with the wonderful guidance of the Department of State, pulled it all together in a great plan, and that's what's so important. And at the Business Council of Westchester, that is what we are about. We are about economic vitality, creating opportunities for everybody, and advocating for public policy that makes those opportunities happen. And I just want to point out a few things about this particular project that's so important. You know, I actually had a short time in my career when I was involved with transportation. I ran an organization called Metropool years ago, and it was so this all kind of ties it all together. So this multimodal transportation hub is the linchpin for the successful revitalization of Ossing's picturesque downtown. And I want to tell you, when I came and visited and walked around with the mayor just a few months ago, I said to her, Mayor, I'm wowed, because I see the changes that have happened in the past few years. You can see it, you could feel it. It allows, the surface parking lot allows for housing and apartments and retail shops, and a beautiful public plaza that will provide walkable, transit-oriented living, and with increased foot traffic to support local businesses while enhancing Ossining as a place to visit and to live, to work, to play. And with this redevelopment, we also have the Sing Sing Prison Museum Preview Center, which is another DRI-funded project located on Main Street's distinct five corners intersection, and that will be well positioned for success as a social justice landmark destination. So all in all, the catalytic impact of the multimodal transportation hub is key to unlocking Ossing's great potential as a historic, diverse, and thriving riverfront community, offering a high quality of life with ample opportunity to access the world-class outdoor recreation that New York State is famous for under the leadership of our great governor, Kathy Hochul. And by the way, still less than an hour's ride from Manhattan. So congratulations to Ossining. Business Council of Westchester has long supported Ossining and seen you as the place for young people, for new things happening, for excitement, and it's really happening here May 11 under your leadership. So thank you very much, and it's my pleasure to turn it back to you.
Okay, so my rule is I don't repeat things, but as I was sitting here, I started by introducing everyone from the state, but the blood, sweat, and tears, not the big checks, but all of blood, sweat, and I'm going to underscore the word tears. There were many. Happiness, and sometimes not so. If you have to fill out grants, if you ever have to do one, imagine doing many and then managing them. Is really the staff. But I was going to do a whole big thank you to the staff, but the truth is, as I'm sitting here, I'm just really was sort of overcome with emotion. And that is, I'm looking at the front row. There are at least 4 people: chief of police, one of the chiefs from our fire, Maddie Sahaj. I'm going to use name. Finance, our leader in finance. Joe has been with us for a long time. That's just the front row. They all grew up here. They used this community center. They all went to high school. Not Dale. Dale's in finance. I feel like your family, but the first 3, the chiefs. And this is where they grew up, just like my daughters grew up, just like our trustees' children. Dana White is our trustee on the board with me, and so is Omar. They are not only like family. So I don't want to introduce people by their titles, because we are all people that live here. We have different point of views. Some of us belong to different political parties. We come from all different backgrounds, and we're all sitting here today enjoying the center of our community, and they all did the work. The Chamber of Commerce is represented with one of our fabulous bookstore people, but Chamber's represented. I know your husband. Everybody here knows everybody. It's fine, but I want to say the Chamber is being represented. Valerie you grew up here, right, Valerie? She's in the consulting company that has been so helpful in rethinking all the zoning and doing all of the heavy lifting, and I mean blood, sweat, and tears. We have Bill, who is really, you've been running this community center so beautifully. You came on board when I was already a member of the board. I say this to my board all the time. It's very nice, and it feels really great that everybody points to the mayor. In this community, however, this village is run by a mayor, its board as a legislative body, and the village manager, Karen Diatori. So it is an everyday. I will also point out that every time I do this, she gets the bigger applause, rightfully, than I do. And it is appropriate, because it's the everyday stuff that really matters. And I have to say, as I sat here and looked at everybody, and I'm sure I'm leaving some people, I know Open Doors here. It is one of the most important nonprofit institutions. We may have over 200 nonprofits registered in the village of Ossining. That's a lot of nonprofits for a small village, but Open Door is a life-changing organization that has gotten better and bigger. Another person that grew up here in Ossining and is part of a multi-generational family who's highly involved. Sandy Galiff is part of that family. I no longer introduce her as the matriarch of the family. She's now, part of a family, because the next 2 generations have taken over. And there are lots of other people. All of the people from the building department, Paul, who's the engineer, who was last night at a very great meeting with the consultants who are also here to tell us, we won't go into over budget and all that stuff, which mayors have to deal with, but we will say that this is a great project, and they have done above and beyond, and Paul always makes sure that every project is done well, and he's been with us, I don't know how long. I feel like a quarter of a century sounds about right, but you've been here a long time. It's very important for me as mayor that people like working here and stay with us throughout their career, because their knowledge and experience is what makes these projects move very quickly, and it's their job to mentor the next generation of the staff that comes here. And my board has heard this before. I'm a mayor that really believes that it isn't the mayor, but it's the team. That's not just a saying. I grew up being in sports. Again, my parents worked like 12 hours a day. They were immigrants, and they worked 7 days a week, so my brother and I had to find things to do. Otherwise, we're just sitting at home doing nothing. We didn't own a TV, because my parents didn't like TV, so literally had nothing to do in our little apartment in Queens. So we did sports, and one of the things I learned, and which is why I ended up getting scholarships, so did my older brother, is that teams always, always, always produce better results than any single individual. It's just that the single individuals stand here. So I want to thank everybody. And if I left anybody out, I'm sorry. I will add one more group of people. And that group is all the spouses and families. A lot of our staff and the elected officials really have family members that sacrifice their time. So I'm always glad, Dave, to see you here. Your wife, Dana, has been just a tremendous person on our board, but it is always wonderful when I see spouses coming in the daytime and the evening. And I know that Chima, who's sitting back there with our amazing youth bureau, who works day and night with the kids, and what people never talk about the youth bureau, is that those 400 kids are members of 400 families in our community. Parents, grandparents, and you change their lives, and it is our pleasure to be helpful. I hope I captured everybody, but to me, when I sat here, I'm not reading the little speech I had actually prepared because it talks about titles. None of this is about titles. I hope you all stay with us a long time. I hope you enjoy everything that we're all building together, and it's going to go to the next generation. So thank you. My job is to tell you that we're all walking over for the actual groundbreaking. Please join us. You walk outside, and there are folks out there to show you where it is. It's just about 100 yards, and that's going to be great. Thank you all for coming here.
Over here, move into the center right here. All right, and then we're going to go all the way over here. We're going to get everyone's best angle today. Be careful. All right. You all good? You all good on pictures? All right, wait. Now we turn back this way. All right. We're going to go to the middle, and then on 3, we're going to throw not that far, right? Step back. So the middle. 1, 2, 3. Good on the shot? All right, good.